Once upon a time there was a beautiful unicorn named Starlight who lived in a magical forest. Starlight had a shiny white coat, a colorful flowing mane, and a long golden horn on her forehead. She spent her days frolicking through the forest, stopping to smell the flowers and say hello to her forest friends. One morning, as Starlight was drinking from a babbling brook, she looked down and noticed something strange. Her reflection in the water showed not just her unicorn face, but also puffs of smoke coming from her nostrils. "That's odd," Starlight said out loud. "Why do I have smoke coming from my nose?" She felt fine otherwise, so she continued on her way through the forest path. However, over the next few days, even stranger things started happening to Starlight. One day, while eating grass in a meadow, she realized her teeth felt sharper in her mouth. The next day, her horn started flickering with little sparks. A few days later, she woke up to find shiny scales on her legs and tiny claws on her hooves. Starlight grew worried. What was happening to her? She decided to visit Sage, the wise old owl who lived in the tallest tree in the forest. Starlight found Sage sitting on a branch, reading an old book. "Sage," Starlight called up. "Strange things are happening to my body. Do you know what's wrong with me?" The owl peered down through his spectacles. Let me see," said Sage. He fluttered down from the tree and examined Starlight closely. "Aha!" he exclaimed. "Starlight, you are transforming into a dragon." Starlight stepped back in shock. "A dragon?" she stammered. The owl nodded. "It's very rare, but it seems you have dragon ancestors. Every 100 years or so, unicorns with dragon blood transform into dragons as they come of age. The changes are slow at first, but soon you will become a full dragon." Starlight's mind was reeling. She was going to turn into a fire-breathing dragon? What would her forest friends think? Would they be scared of her? That night, as she lay awake with worry, Starlight noticed more changes. Her legs were now covered in thick red scales. Her hooves had grown into sharp black claws. Her mane and tail felt heavier and were turning leathery. Starlight sighed, a puff of smoke rising from her mouth. She was really turning into a dragon. In the following weeks, the changes accelerated. Starlight grew bigger and bigger until she was towering over the tallest tree. Her horn widened into a bony frill. Her round muzzle pushed forward into a snout lined with razor-sharp teeth. Shiny silver dragon wings sprouted from her back. With each change, Starlight grew more anxious about how her friends would react to a fire-breathing monster in their midst. The day finally came when Starlight awoke as a fully formed dragon. She looked at her towering red body, large wings, massive claws, and thick spiked tail in shock. "I really am turning into a dragon," she roared, then jumped in surprise at her own booming voice. Starlight cautiously peered out of her cave den, worried what her friends would think. To her surprise, the other animals seemed unfazed by her transformation. "Good morning, Starlight," chirped her friend Lily the bluebird, landing on Starlight's frill. My, you've certainly changed, but you're still our friend." The other animals slowly approached, also unafraid. Starlight looked around, touched that her friends still accepted her. Maybe being a dragon wouldn't be so bad after all. She spread her massive silver wings, flapped them vigorously, and took to the skies for her first flight. Starlight roared joyfully, blowing a puff of flame into the air. She swooped over the forest she called home, happy she could still live there even though she was now a dragon. In the weeks that followed, Starlight continued protecting the forest, using her new dragon abilities. Her thick armored skin protected her from harm. Her large claws dug channels to direct water. Her fiery breath cleared dead branches and brambles. At night she perched on a rocky crag, watching for intruders. The animals were grateful for their vigilant dragon guardian. One day, a group of mean goblins stormed into the peaceful forest intent on chopping down trees. The animals were frightened, but Starlight sprang into action. With guttural roars, she flapped her mighty wings, whipping up powerful gusts of wind that sent the goblins tumbling end over end. She stomped her massive feet, shaking the ground and scaring them away. With a final powerful blast of fire, Starlight drove the intruders away for good. The animals erupted into cheers for their dragon hero. From then on, Starlight embraced her new identity as a strong, fearsome dragon who could safeguard her home. At the same time, she remained the kind friend she'd always been to the forest creatures. She gave them rides on her spiny back and used her gentle claws to help birds build nests. Although the animals missed the unicorn, they loved their loyal dragon guardian even more. Starlight had taught them that appearances don't matter as much as how you act. So in the end, the strange transformation ended up being a good thing after all. With her courageous heart and powerful dragon body, Starlight continued guarding and growing alongside her beloved forest for years to come. And she lived happily ever after.